Testing 1, 2. I'm not sure. I'm just going to check right now to see if this is a new stream because this is going to be a new post. So this one is inspired from the weekend I just had. I was out with my friend's son, who I consider like a brother. And while we were there, we were just having some deep conversations on growth. And he shared a really good story with me. So I'm going to share that with you now. So here we go. Hi, guys. My name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast One Life. Leap of faith. You ever hear the quote that says, when you take new action, the impossible becomes possible, and that all comes through action. Sometimes it's so easy to forget that in order to grow, in order to become who we are, we need to take some massive steps. We need to take some leaps of faith. We need to jump across to the other side. And I'm using it as a metaphor, as when you think of maybe a bridge, right? When there's no bridge, but there's a jump there. If you get a running start, you may be able to make the jump. But as a result of the fear, you may get to the edge, then you retract back. You get to the edge, you retract back. And each time you do that, it's causing you to shrink. It's causing you to acknowledge and accept fear as a way of life. Where are you doing this in your own life? Where do you know that there's action that you need to take in order to you get to that promised land, that next level of your life, of your success? You see it, but then you end up just kind of retracting back, and you never actually take the step, the action that you know you need to take. And then now I want you to just kind of think of an area of your life. Think of a time in your life where you took that big action, where maybe you were forced into it because there was just so much pain weighing down you that there was no other choice. You know you had to change. Maybe it was like quitting a job. Maybe it was finally saying, you know what, I'm going to stick to this workout plan because I cannot take the way I feel anymore. What is that experience? When you have that experience, I want you to then reflect back on it and say, okay, how do I feel when I look back? Like, this obstacle, this thing seemed like it was insurmountable. But when you were forced to make that change, when you were forced to move forward, and you look back, what do you think of that obstacle now? Likely, it'll seem very insignificant because you've already surpassed it. And that is the same for every single thing that is going to be of value in your life. It's going to be scary at first. But when you look back, after you've conquered that mountain, after you've taken the island, you look back and realize it wasn't that big of a deal, at least not anymore. And then it's on to the next one. An even bigger mountain, even bigger leap. I was in New Jersey. I was visiting my friend's brother, and like her entire family was coming down to the beach house. And that night, I walked with my friend Alex, and we were walking down. We were talking about life in general. It was a pretty deep conversation. I think he's 18 years old now. He was telling me a story about his parkour coach or his instructor. He had this instructor that he was very, very fond of. It was a very positive influence in his life because he had a growth mindset. And this instructor was telling his students, his class, that he was going to be leaving and that he was moving somewhere else. When he was explaining this to them, he used a metaphor. He says, it is scary. He's like, yes, I am afraid to make this move. But this move is like a jump. This move is like taking that big leap that you know may just be beyond your capabilities. But you run, you get that running start, and you do it. And when you land it, you look back and you acknowledge, yes, you were scared shitless when you had to make that jump. But now that you're on the other side, you realize how much better off you were as a result of it. Isn't that true of life? Isn't that how every single thing that requires us to grow feels in the beginning? And then once you've actually done it, Now all of a sudden you feel great and it doesn't seem like it was anything big at all. And sometimes you may even downplay what you've been through, failing to realize that people under you or people before you are actually facing the same thing. And where you are now seems like leaps and bounds from where they are, and they're looking up to you. I want you, from listening to this, to realize that there is a sunnier island there. There is a brighter side. There's something bigger and better waiting for you, but it requires you to make that jump. When you retract back in fear, what you're doing is you're reinforcing this fear. You're reinforcing the smallness. You're reinforcing your current position. The likelihood of you taking action after that are actually very small until you hit that pain threshold, until you say, enough is enough. I cannot take this anymore. And then you move forward. To give you an example, I was in Bermuda. I was with my friend for his bachelor party. So it was a bunch of us guys. And he took us on one of his friends took us on a boat. We went to this place where you can do, I think it's cliff jumping or something like that. I'm not even sure what the name of it is. Needless to say, I was one of the most inexperienced swimmers in the entire boat. So we get to this island, we pull off, and there's this little jump off point. In order to get into the water, you had to clear some rocks at the end. All the guys went up there. Each person jumped off one after one, and everyone made it to the water. They were all cheering, going crazy, and then I was the last one up on the rock. As I looked at the rock, they're like, come on, Donnie, everyone's cheering me on. And I ran up to the line, and I was ready to jump. I looked down, and I retracted back. I pulled up again, ready to jump. I looked down, and I retracted back. Each time I did this, the fear literally was, I was so anxious. I was shooting through the roof. And then at the very last second, I knew I had to jump. So I went to jump, but the only thing is I didn't jump. My knees literally buckled. And I practically just fell off this rock. I did manage to hit the water. My friends, when they saw me, they said they thought I was a goner. They thought I was going to die because I came within inches of hitting a rock. I didn't see that, thankfully. Otherwise, I don't think I would have ever stepped foot on another platform again to jump. The reason I'll tell you this story is just because of the role that fear was playing. Because I kept going to the platform, pulling back, going to the platform, it was making me more uncertain of my abilities to make that jump. And as a result, yes, I did take the action, but it could have nearly costed me my entire life. Because the wrong emotions were guiding me in that experience. Right? Rather than looking and feeling acquainted with the feelings I'm going to get as a result of clearing that, conquering fear. It's kind of like the same thing I got from paragliding, skydiving, hang gliding, all these other things, right? They require you to, one, trust whoever the person you're in tandem with. But also, it's just like this liberating feeling once you've actually done it. But each one of those occasions, if I didn't really step forward and if I allowed fear to take over, it could have cost me my life in every single one of those instances. So what are your options? You see that you see the land on the other side. You know there is a crevice that you have to jump across. You have to surpass in order to feel better, feel good, feel that momentum, whatever it is you want. I don't even know. I feel like I'm just saying things right now. But there's a gap that needs to be cleared. And it scares the living shit out of you. But what is it that's waiting for you on the other side? What are the experiences on the other side? What are the feelings on the other side? What are the opportunities waiting for you on the other side? How is it going to feel once you've done it, once you've surpassed, once you've conquered this obstacle? When you look back, what are you going to think about it? Let that be the guiding emotion. Let that be the guiding experience to take action going forward. Because I promise you, it's bigger and better than you could even imagine. And that it's not impossible. Anything is possible. People have done it before you. So look to the people who've done it for the inspiration. And I promise your life will never be the same. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. This is just an inspiration I had from a talk with a friend, but I know it could be of value and maybe let you think about the areas of life where you know a change needs to happen. The intention of this podcast was not so much to really think about the change, but what is possible, what is waiting for you on the other side once you've made that jump. But also to acquaint you with the truth that once you do it and you look back, you realize that the jump wasn't a big deal at all. And you take that experience and you carry it forward for the next big, hairy, audacious obstacle, goal, whatever it is that scares you. But you remember, yeah, you know what? I faced like something like this similarly in the past. And I know what's waiting for me on the other side. I'll give you one more example. This is a metaphor. I was doing a Tony Robbins event, and they gave us this piece of wood to break through. On the front of the wood, we put all of our limitations. We wrote them all down, like, what we wanted, our fears, all these things. But then on the back, we wrote what we would experience when we break through these beliefs, when we break through these thoughts. So the idea of breaking through the board and coming out the other end is everything I just explained to you. The other end is all the feelings, the emotion, all the things you're going to get from conquering that fear, from taking that step. Acquainting yourself with those things and allow those things to pull you forward. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment via iTunes or Spotify. If you enjoyed, thank you for tuning in, first of all. If you enjoy this, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear of your own experiences and how this relates to your life. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you get one life. Live it. God bless, and I will see you again soon.